We'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which this project is created, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. We'd also like to pay our respects to elders past, present, and emerging.
Settle down and gather round for another tale. In the world of Nua, where time has carved and cultivated a magical utopia of wonder, a small group of adventurers unlock the deep mysteries of the land, its people, and themselves. Welcome to the Down Under Dungeon podcast.
Apparently, I meant to be addressing these to someone, so little Promi. After climbing out from under the well, a bronze dragon wormling attacked and let out one of its gross breath attacks, and I fell asleep. A battle raged on around my body as I napped away. I was haunted by dreams of an eviscerated landscape. Everything had been kind of burnt away, and I saw that same rainbow as before, but this time I heard the same cry of a phoenix. This was why I tried to summon you, Promi, in my dream, and somehow it worked. I saw that same flash of a rainbow. I hope that me summoning you isn't damaging the eternal flame or original phoenix. Do you like being summoned? I hope so. As Louis woke me up, I noticed that her and Lysandra had been fighting with the wormling, trying to bring it down. Qwig finally rejoined us, thrown down from the balcony by someone who had clearly been observing us for some time. I'm glad Qwig was safe though. I wouldn't forgive myself if something happened to my new friends. The bear loomed over, flanked by blood ravens and burrowers. He mourned the wormling Bethany as Lysandra tore it down in a final blow. He gloated a little bit too much though, and kinda let out his plans for manipulating people as they make their way into the town and then stealing their food and water and selling it on the black market go, so maybe we can do something with that. As much as I don't like this guy, we were forced to agree to help him when he requested it. So I hope I can keep my friends safe when we have to say no. Our journey to Laludrid resumed, and on the way we ran into Bathilda, a circle of stone druid, which I'd never really heard of them before, so that was a bit weird. She was selling magic scrolls, and Qwig really wanted some, so I agreed to trade 2 magic beans to help him. However, she dropped one, so here we are.
Alrighty, so last time we left off, you were left in a precarious situation when the well-meaning but maybe,
Was she?
well...
I love her, leave her alone.
Well-meaning but fumbling.
I think I'm just jealous because I really wanted to plant a bee.
Yes.
You got convinced out of it.
So the Bathilda, the Circle of Stone Druid, exchanged some magic beans for some magic scrolls. However, she dropped them at the last minute. So how this is going to work is normally these magic beans would require water to sprout, but that wouldn't be very helpful to someone in a hidden cache in the savannah. So these beans are native to the area and they will germinate on their own if they're not discovered. Ooh. So it really is up to you guys what you want to do at the moment, but basically you must quickly decide whether to grant the help action to Bathilda to find the bean with her investigation roll, or you can just leave her to her own devices. What would you like to do?
Do we go for chaos or do we go for continuity?
Why don't we go for some chaos?
Let's go for chaos.
I think Daniel and Fang wants to see what happens, but I also don't want to impose that on everyone.
Honestly,
were we told what the beans were? Did Fang tell anyone?
Yeah, because remember, I think you cast Detect Magic, and you said that there was every school of magic.
Yes.
And you were like, they're bad.
I know they're deeply magical. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
We determined they weren't safe to eat.
Yeah, Fang would maybe take this moment to just turn to everyone and be like, this is the will of the universe, so we just need to let it happen.
Like falling in slow motion.
Yeah. But also like all fours on the ground, like sifting through the sand.
I fly. I skitter away a bit. I'm so scared. Yeah. I do not go to help. I immediately.
I think Lysandra's probably taking a few steps back.
My instinct is to back away.
You see Niles comes over and starts giving her the help action to try and sniff out the beans.
Can Fang try to go over to her and say, "Hey, Bathilda, this is the will. We need to let this happen. If you dropped it, it was meant to be."
Oh, well, you can drop your own bean, but this bean's mine. She's like shifting through the sand. Even with the help action, it's a 9 on her investigation.
I'm clutching
check.
my spell scrolls.
It's meant to happen. The dice are even willing it.
I'm going to roll a D100.
Ah.
Could have seen a druid as our agent of chaos.
And we will see what happens. You see, as Bathilda's like ruffling around in the ground, trying to dig out this bean, a few paces behind her, you see like the sand starts to turn black. And almost like an ink blot is like starting to filter out into the sand. And you suddenly, I'm going to need everyone to make an investigation check for me.
Oh, God.
I got a 17.
16.
9.
5.
5. Qwig, Lysandra, you would get higher on this investigation check as you see a spectral hand erupts from this black tar, almost like an oil leak in the sand. And in its grips, it's holding what appears to be a long sword.
Oh.
Ooh.
You see Bathilda still hasn't seen it. She's like ruffling around in the ground behind her.
What's behind her?
Yeah, Niles is standing behind her, rigid, like pointing with his nose at her, and she's completely oblivious to what's
Is it
happening.
moving like it's going to attack someone?
Just holding it, full like a lady of the lake.
I think I'm going to look at Qwig and then start walking over to it and begin to reach out to grab it. It looks interesting.
Are you sure about that?
No, but it looks interesting and it's a cool sword.
Fair enough. I take another step back. Let it do a thing.
And I'm going to reach out to try and grab it.
Yeah, you reach forward with your hand and you clasp the magical longsword. You see it pulls out. The hand beckons towards you after you take the sword from it. You see it's made of pure bone. It is like not so much like made from bones, but it was obviously like a larger bone that has been carved and whittled down. This is a +1 magical longsword.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
Now, quick, hide it.
Yeah, could have been
Going
mine.
Yeah, give me a sleight of hand against Bathilda's perception.
Okay.
Please get this.
That's a 12.
That's a 17.
Oh.
She's a
You
druid.
see, as you start to move behind her, she's like, Niles, what are you pointing? Oh, what's that you found over there?
It's a really cool sword.
And you just found that lying around on the ground?
I mean, it could be a bone.
Could be. Don't say the B word. And I need you to make a strength.
Athletics check. Okay. That's a dirty 20.
Dirty 20. Niles rolled a 5, and you see Niles immediately starts to come for that massive just slobber running down the hair around his mouth. It's already congealing in his fur. You see Bathilda's like trying to like ward him off with the crook, but he's going nuts for that. And she's like, why would you say the B word around Niles like that out of willy-nilly? Gee, you guys really are fresh around here. Would you hurry up and get already? Get!
And I gesture for her to put the sword away now. It's like,
Okay, I suppose we should get going then.
Sorry.
Thank you for your time.
thank you so much for these scrolls.
Oh, wait, all right. I guess I'll just stay here and keep looking for my beam. But anyway, you have a good day.
You as well.
You too.
Good luck.
Builder.
Bye.
Bye.
Quick, let's run.
We don't need to run.
Oh, yeah,
That
good
makes
point.
Walk away, and we walk really rigidly. We just go doo, 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 away. So natural.
Prestidigitation, some like awkward music.
I just pull out my flute and do it.
Yeah.
So walking, you would say rigidly, but maybe just exhaustively if you've not taken a rest yet.
Yeah, no, I
Oh.
think honestly this is the point where it really starts to hit Louis, and I think she's like really missing, like, because we're really light on everything, and I think probably we left some of our stuff in the caravan, so I think she left her cane behind, and I think at this point she's literally just like, the first time you've seen her look as old as she does, she just looks exhausted, covered in shit, and just looks at all of you and is like,
Still.
okay, youngins, I'm gonna have to take a sec at some point. if we can sit down somewhere. I don't know. Or if one of you maybe gives me a piggyback if we want to keep continuing.
I will say that during the encounter with Bathilda, if you weren't buying anything, which, you were just handing some money over, I'll say you had time for a short rest.
Oh,
if that
sweet.
helps.
Yes.
But yeah, we can definitely find somewhere to rest, maybe before we get to Lalodrud tomorrow.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Great, thanks.
And I'm going to take out my now old sword and hand it over to you as a walking stick.
Incredible. Yeah, what does it look like?
It's a very plain and simple, I'd say very medieval looking, just long sword. It's nothing fancy. It's got, I don't even know sword terminology, but
Pommel.
yeah, the
hilts,
pommel, hilt, all of that.
crossguard.
It's probably a little bit worn, like it's not the fanciest thing in the world,
Amazing.
but it works.
I think she takes it, looks at you, and looks at Lysandra and just says, "Thank you, dear. That genuinely means a lot." And kind of takes one of the scarves off of her belt, kind of wraps it around the hilt to make it a little more comfortable, and just kind of like uses it to hobble along.
Sweet, yeah. You guys, I'd say let's make another nature check. I'd say, given Fang's probably leading the way, he can make it.
Okay, nature or survival?
It's up to you.
Sweet, survival is a plus.
I know what I choose.
Hey, that's a 22.
22.
Nice.
You keep walking throughout the day. You continue along the road that Bathilda gestured to you was heading the way to Lysandra, but you're looking for somewhere to rest along the way there. As you move on, the afternoon begins to drone on with little consequence, and more signs of life begin to greet you. You start to see abandoned tents, places like barrels, old mine carts overturned. And with that 22, I'm saying you're definitely able to see a couple of abandoned tents here. Obviously, this was once like a mining outpost that no longer is profitable, and they've just abandoned the tents here.
I'm intrigued, is there any insignia on the tents?
Yeah, you can make investigation checks if you'd like.
Looking for a bear paw.
We've seen so much insignia so far, so I'm trying to connect some dots and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, the ravens.
Yeah.
Not bad, that's a 16.
You move through, these tents are fairly worn and ragged. You might have to take some time sewing and patching them together if you want to make them proper shelter again. I will say you do see a faded insignia on the canvas of one of the tents. It is that of 2 shovels that are crossed. And what did you roll for your check again?
16.
16. You can make a history check.
13.
You don't know what this is because it is quite faded, but it does seem like there is a title underneath the sigil. It's just faded in time. What would you like to do?
This seems like a good place for us to rest before we get to Lysandra. We can maybe turn it into something cozy.
It's fairly sheltered.
I'm on for it.
I've already sat down and I'm copying out my scrolls into my spell book. I just start on that right away.
Sick.
Cross-legged. As soon as we stop, I'm there.
Yeah. I think I'm taking bits of fabric out of my bag and starting to just sort of like patch up the tents and things that I can see around so we can have at least some kind of formal shelter.
Wonderful.
Yeah, Feng will go around druid crafting, making the space cleaner, tidying things up, adding some comfier shrubs, some nice places for people to sit.
Yeah, I'm so oblivious and so unhelpful. It's just like, you're cleaning up the space and I'm sitting like in the way, in the middle.
Normally the wizards do this.
I think
I'm just mumbling to myself. Don't even hear it.
I think Lysandra's beginning to go and find stuff to start a fire and do all of that, seeing if there's anything alive that she can try and hunt for food, because I understand that we're all low on rations, and yeah, just doing that sort of stuff while everyone else is staying at the camp.
Cool.
Okay. Qwig, we'll start with you. So the way we're going to work your spells, if you want to get these quickly rushed and memorized, you make the check with disadvantage. Otherwise, you can just make the check normally, but it will take you a certain number of hours to memorize these spells and copy them into your book correctly. Plus the gold value that would need to do them.
Yes. Oh, that is fair.
I will say, I will still let you roll with the disadvantage if you don't put the gold in, but if you fail, you'll get levels of exhaustion. So it just depends on how desperately you need their spells.
I don't think too desperately at this point.
I will say give me an Arcana check.
Okay. 22.
22. You know that these scrolls are ancient, the ones you've got from Bathilda. They're made from papyrus, which is usually, has been superseded even from where you're from. It doesn't last very long. The colour fades. But somehow these stone druids are able to keep them legible for such a long period of time. It makes you wonder, this notion of like history and time is very strange to you because obviously in the Fey Court it's a cyclical cycle. Time is kind of irrelevant really. Whereas here there seems to be so many different layers, and I feel like it would still intrigue you that there is whole schools and disciplines of magic that perhaps still exist but have been lost to time. And as someone who is a cloistered scholar, that is very interesting to you.
For sure. I do start on studying the Fairy Fire spell, but I do not have the gold for it, but I'll take my time as well.
You read it. Obviously, it's legible to you, but it's still very interesting to see a spell that's tapping into like the Fey vessel of magic in this world and seeing someone else, not from the Fey Court's interpretation of that magic.
Yeah.
Lysandra, out to do some hunting, are we?
Yeah, a little bit.
Give me a nature check.
Okie dokie. Where's my nature? That's what it is. Ew. That's 5.
A 5. I now need you to give me an intelligence check.
Oh no, really?
All your best stats.
That is 11.
Okay. Lysandra wanders off in search of an animal.
She's got this.
She's the best of us.
She killed the dragon after all.
Yeah. She even fought through blinded eyes.
Wonderful. And Louis, can you give us a sleight of hand check?
Yeah, love to.
You don't have any weaver's tools or anything, so it's just...
No, I do not. It's a 14.
14. Nice job. Like a grandma job. Like the lost art of sewing. Grandmas do it, and you're like, you're a wizard.
Wizard, yeah.
You're a wizard. Yeah, it's it's slow going because she is like exhausted and arthritic, but it's just like small little stitches that just take time to do. So it takes her a little bit, but I think she does at least a reasonable job.
Just make an insight check for me.
Oh, okay.
Just on the group, just as you're looking around.
Sewing is such like an innate kind of meditative practice almost. I think she's pretty easily able to keep her eyes out. 10.
Someone's missing.
Hey guys, anyone seen Lysandra?
Oh,
Yeah, she went to find us some food.
I just groan like I'm still reading.
Qwig's very engrossed with his book.
Okay. Hey Fang, would you be a darling and just maybe go see where she is?
Yeah, for sure. I'll go try find her.
Thanks. I don't trust myself out there.
Okay, Fang, can you give me a nature check, please?
Watch us get lost. Hey, now it's our turn to go on solo adventure.
Oh, no.
Okay, Fang, can you make me a nature check or survival if you're trying to follow footprints?
Yeah, I'd try follow her footprints. I think that's what Fang's best at. Ooh, that's a 24.
24.
Nice.
Fang, you quickly find Lysandra just aimlessly, like, she's not aimlessly wandering, but she's wandering with purpose, but you can already tell with your high wisdom that she has no clue where she's going, but she's determined about it.
No.
Hey, did you find any animals? Any food?
No, I didn't. I'm looking though, I'm trying.
You seem a bit lost, I'm not gonna lie.
I'm not lost.
Are you sure about that? You're sweating a bit.
Nope, not lost at all. I know exactly where I am. The camp is over there, and points in the completely wrong direction.
Lysandra, it's okay. You don't need to pretend all the time. You could be yourself.
I wish I could be myself more often. Thank you.
Then why don't you?
Because that would be admitting that I'm not who I'm meant to be, and I want to be who I'm meant to be, and who I'm meant to be is someone in the Priory.
Why do you have to be anything apart from what you want to be?
Because that's just how I've been surviving, I guess, how I've been living.
That makes sense. Just don't be afraid to be yourself and admit that sometimes you don't know what's going on, or that, you're lost. That's okay.
Okay, well, I guess I am lost.
How about I show you back to camp?
Okay, I was just trying to be helpful.
No, of course, that's okay. It's not as if you had bad intentions. But getting lost is not a problematic thing.
Okay, how do we get back?
Just this way.
Literally 50 meters.
Then takes 3 footsteps.
She's been so distracted by like the, surroundings and how open everything is that she just got completely lost, and I love that for her.
So if you guys want to take a long rest here, it'd probably be like 8 hours. So it will mean late afternoon or evening when you come out of your long rest. Or would you like to stay the day and night here?
Are we in any kind of rush into the city?
I don't believe so.
Then I think we should probably take the maximum amount of time we can in a safe space.
I suppose we can talk about what we found in that bandit outpost.
Yeah, don't bring back the memories of being covered in shit.
Yeah, I think we should just best forget that and move on.
Okay.
Well, tents are all set up, so let's pass out. I'm gonna go pass out in a corner. Good night.
We'll talk about it after a sleep.
Good night.
Good night.
Nah.
As Louis retires for the evening, Feng probably begins to construct a fire outside for the rest of you who are staying up.
Yeah, Feng's going through this kind of inner conflict in terms of since he leveled up to, mechanically, we're talking a bit metagaming here, but since he obviously leveled up to level 2, he became a wildfire druid and thus got fire cantrips and fire spells and promi, but because he hasn't passed his initiation test, he kind of feels like he's stealing fire if he was to ever actually use that cantrip or, that spell. So the time he used Burning Hands, that was the special ability of the staff, so it wasn't his own fire. Promi is actually the only, subclass feature, I guess, that he's used. So he would like to try start a fire without using Produce Flame or anything.
Oh, so he's rubbing sticks.
He's rubbing sticks together.
Yeah, give me a nature check.
That's a 19.
Yeah, you see Feng takes his time, picking off needles from cacti, chasing after a tumbleweed, trying to reason with it to come back to him. And eventually, it will take it's a wondrous thing to watch a druid at work in that he will take 2 stones and this seemingly mass of dried weeds, and then within 15 minutes a fire is already blazing in the campsite.
Is this before the long rest or?
Before.
Yeah, sweet. This will keep everyone nice and toasty and maybe ward off some animals or monsters. Hopefully it won't attract them, but hopefully we can have a good rest.
Good job.
Thank you. And we long rest. Do we take it in turns to be on watch?
Yeah, so someone will need to take watch to make sure everyone gets their long rest. I would say for a full long rest, taking 2 hours each, you
Sounds
will
good.
have to take 2 hours of watch.
Then we'll take the first one.
Cool.
It's actually only 6 hours that we need to sleep, though, so I think we only need 3 to take watch. For a long rest, it's over 8 hours.
Which, whatever. I'm just going to roll and see if anything happens on the night. So we'll start with Feng's watch.
Do I roll anything or are you rolling?
Nope.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Louis' watch. Qwig's watch. Okay, and that's Lysandra's watch. Alright, the night moves on without little consequence. The day breaks again. The cold of the night recedes, and already as the sun begins to rise, the cicadas begin to start, and already the day begins, and you start to feel that emanating heat begin to set back into the land again. And you all are awake in the morning.
Feng early in the morning would probably wait till Lysandra's awake and probably want to talk to her again just before they get to Luminous.
I feel like Lysandra's probably already awake if her watch was last, so she would have gotten up early and just kept watch as the sun would have been rising.
Yeah, Feng would probably come sit next to you, watch the sunrise and say, so I was going to ask you when we were underneath that well about, your religion and your god, but I kind of chickened out in the moment. So when we get to Luminous today, I meant to take my initiation test, but I'm going to be honest with you, I don't really feel ready. The elders sent me out to learn about other, places of the world, other people of the world, and I don't really feel like I've done that. So I was just wondering if you could tell me about the Priory of Sky.
I can do that, but why don't you feel ready? Just because you don't know other people and other religions?
No, it's just I failed twice and I don't really feel like anything has changed that much since my last attempt. I mean, the only thing I have to go off is the dream that I had where I cried blood and saw a rainbow and heard a phoenix cry. Maybe there's something wrong with the phoenix or the elder flame and I have to solve that and maybe then I'll be ready.
I'm sorry. Let's just go back a little bit. You had a dream where you were crying blood.
Yes, I told you that, remember? In the middle of the battle.
I was a little bit busy focusing.
Fair. That's very fair. See, I don't really know when the right time to tell people things is.
You'll learn. I don't know either. So why did you fail originally?
I don't know. The flame turns blue, white, and cold. And if that happens, then you're not worthy.
Well, the Priory, there's multiple different gods.
So there's multiple gods. Which one do you follow again?
I follow Kastar, the god of lightning and navigation.
And what's his deal? Like, what does he believe in? What are you meant to follow?
Well, I'm not exactly an acolyte or anything like that. My job at the Priory is to sort of stand at the gates and welcome in the people.
And do they teach you anything while you're doing that?
Well, they do, but I mean, I sort of listen in, I read. I've been doing that for years.
And what have you learnt about, the way that they live? What do they believe in? Because in the circle, we're all about burning away corruption, burning away, an abundance of things to reveal the insides, get to the heart of nature and life. So what is the Priory's deal if, they're the opposite of what we are? I'm just trying to understand.
Well, the Priory, it's all about being the better version of yourself.
Oh.
Working towards self-betterment in a way.
That makes sense. That sounds nice.
So I guess for me, coming on this trip was all about learning to be a better person, but to also be good, to what it is to be a good person.
Well, hopefully we can do that together.
I hope so. You seem like you know what you're doing.
I don't really most of the time. I just pretend. And then I admit when I'm wrong. And I celebrate when I'm correct.
That seems like a pretty cool thing for a good person to do.
Thanks. And Feng crosses his arms and nods his head as though he's self-assured now and ready to take on the day.
And I believe that you can do this, the initiation. I think you should give it a shot.
We'll see. We'll see how I feel in the moment.
Well, I'll be standing by your side if you need support.
Yeah, maybe we should talk to everyone else about what we're going to do once we get into the city.
I mean, if you have to do the initiation straight away, or is it something that you can do whenever you're there? How does that work?
Maybe we can go do something else before we go to the circle. Like maybe Louis has someone to go talk to. Maybe Qwig has someone to go see or something to investigate. Mine can be last for all I care.
Do you want it to be last?
Yes, please.
Okay, it will be last then. I'll make sure of that.
Okay, let's go talk to everyone else and find out what we do when we get into the city.
Okay, let's do it.
Qwig and Louis, you come out onto the breakfast morning scene.
Morning. How are we all doing? All sleep okay?
We're ready to get to Laludrud.
Lovely. Wonderful.
So what's our plan once we get there? Does anyone have anything they need to do?
Well, I've been meaning to look into this business with the European.
Oh, yeah, what, the bear was talking about.
Yeah, it seems like, well, from what I've heard, that's what everyone's going there for, and I think there's something strange with the magic around it. I'm trying to work out what's so special about it. So, if we could look into that, I'm sure plenty of people will know different things, piece it together.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe they've got a library or an archaeology museum there.
But I would love if they had that. I would love a book and all the answers right now.
I hope you find that, friend.
Thank you.
We'll make sure that you find that, but hopefully in the meantime this could help you, and I'll produce the little chest from what I found, and I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah, so you do have it.
Well, I don't really know anything about this, but if you're interested in it, you can have it.
I mean, I can hold on to it, but I think it's definitely for the best we don't go showing this to people.
Well, if everyone's after it, yeah, we definitely can't tell people about it.
Let's keep this under wraps then, but good that we have a sample to work with.
And what do we think the Circle of Stones deal is? I was under the impression there was no druidic circle here.
Curious.
Well, there are plenty of stones, so
Of course, that makes sense, but is europium not part stone as well?
she did have a problem with extraction.
That makes sense. So I wonder if anyone's manipulating the circle of stone to leave Laludrud by bringing the Order of the Eternal Flame in.
By bringing your order in.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know, that's how they're uncovering europium. It's underground. There's a lot of possibility. I just don't get why I was hidden from the circle of stone. And how is europium new and, such an abundance being brought into the city?
Potentially, maybe it was once a protected element that then's been extracted. I mean, gold rushes are a thing, so it makes sense. Things are going to be disrupted, and those that are affected by it and the ones who were custodians of it are going to be not too happy about it.
Yeah, that's true. And what do we think about Galvin and the bear setup of them manipulating people as they come into the city and, stealing their own food and water to just sell it in the black market in the city, especially if people are struggling to live and eat?
Yeah, I mean, desperate people do desperate things, but also business is going to spring up wherever necessity is. So as much as I'm not a fan of it, it is an endeavor that, we attempted to disrupt it. It didn't really do great things.
They killed two of their own.
Yeah.
And we're now working for the bear.
Oh,
in
my
a way, or
gosh.
indebted in what is our situation with the bear.
Well, we owe him a favor whenever he calls on it.
Just not a great thing to owe a powerful person, but...
Unfortunately, that also kind of glues us together. Is that okay with everyone?
Well, I feel like we were kind of glued together when we got left behind by a caravan, so...
That'll do it.
Yeah, that's going to do it.
So what's our plan when we get into the city?
Well, I mean, I might know a person or two that we can talk to if we need it. Maybe some people with connections if they're willing to see me.
I would love a starting place to start talking to people, so that's good.
Yeah.
Who do you know?
Well, I mean, I believe he was mentioned before by the Mantelope Wrangler as the raiser of taxes and not so well-liked person of Jarl Scruff. But, I mean, I knew him back when he was just a wee tyke, back when he was just Scruff, so I don't know what he's been up to, but, I mean, good to run a check-in and see.
Sounds good. Let's get on our way then.
Let's do it.
We head towards the city.
As you continue closer towards the city, the signs of life actually begin appearing, not just remnants of it. At first, only a few encampments, often built around a large communal area. These encampments are full of persons of every shape, size, colour, and they begin to flip between them. You feel curious eyes follow you as this motley bunch continue down the road. Many forms of dyed and coloured canvas are erected, the most prime locations often in the shade of large monoliths. More defined thoroughfares become apparent, with makeshift wooden tracks carrying ore and supplies like veins within a vast body. On one of these ore carts, Feng, you see again the two shovels crossed on a much more, like it's an in-operation mine cart, and underneath the two shovels is the branded label Pension Prospecting Securities Limited. The dust, cries of mantelopes and people. It's a stark contrast to the last few days in the Plains of Peril. Eventually, the track begins to slope downwards as it approaches the city proper. Lal Udrud is a haven in this place, protected by the shelter offered by the Udrud Gorge, for which it was named. The cliffs on either side begin to extend higher and higher until you become shaded by the rock's cool embrace. As the gorge begins to widen, you see more of the permanent structures here in the city, built either within or upon the walls of the gorge itself. Half of the city is bathed in light, while the other in shadow as the sun makes its journey through the sky. In the shaded areas of the city, you begin to see small bioluminescent moss, contained in small glass canisters, shedding a soft blue-green light and permitting the trade and discourse of the city to continue. The path widens and comes to a halt at the centre of the city. While the space is intriguing and exotic, our adventurers can't help but notice a large crowd forming on the far side of what appears to be a lush lagoon. Okay, so what I'll do is get you. You can either make perception or investigation checks.
Natural 20.
Natural 20.
Nice.
What did everyone else get?
First 17 investigation.
17 for Qwig,
13 perception.
13 for Lysandra.
Fang got a 10 perception.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay, so we'll end with you, Louis, with that crit. We'll start with Fang. Fang, in front of you, you see a perfectly circular rock pool, appearing to be carved from the rock itself. It's wider than it is deep. It's got cool, crystal clear water bubbling from a crevice in the center, similar to the well underneath the burrower's keep. Large, lotus-like flowers emanate an intoxicating aroma and float gracefully on the surface, and vibrant, iridescent green dragonflies dart across its surface, skimming the cool water. The pool is flanked by two enormous and heavily armored bugbears wearing the insignia of Lal Druid, an orange sun, on their breastplates. Lysandra, with your perception check, you also notice a notice board on the far right-hand side of this space, and obviously that sticks out to you as well as the crowd forming. With a 17 investigation, Qwig, and then you also see this, Louis. You see that lots of people are coming forward to fill up canisters at this lagoon. It's a lot of miners on their way out to the seams, a lot of beggar children. But with a 17, you notice that a certain number of children seem to be reappearing more often than the others, and seem to be carrying water off to a specific place. And the bugbears seem to pay them no mind. Louis, you also see that. Mm-hmm. And then you also see across the crowd a familiar face forming on the other side.
Okay.
What would you like to do?
Can I clock who exactly the familiar face is?
You know who the familiar face is.
Okay, so it's the name that's been following us around this place? Y'all, Scruff?
He hasn't been following you.
No, the name has
the name
has been following us.
Yes.
Following me.
You, with that nat 20, immediately you start to hear the crowd's fervent whispers. The Jarl is coming. He's coming down from his tower. I hope it's not more taxes. We don't have enough water. You also see a small makeshift stage which has been erected at the far side of the town commons. And all of a sudden, the crowd falls silent. What do you want to do?
We should probably be silent too, I guess, and listen to this announcement.
Just follow where everyone's eyes go and listen up.
So you make your way around the lagoon to the crowd on the far side. You join in the ranks. You suddenly see two figures step upon the stage and turn to address the crowd. The first to speak is a tall, young, and handsome orc. He sports tight wranglers and deep purple leather cowboy boots. His flowing linen shirt is unbuttoned, revealing a scarred and muscular frame.
Hot.
oh my god, so hot.
Who is this kid?
One of his tusks protruding from the bottom lip is golden, and he sports an enormous broad-brimmed hat with a large orange feather plume.
I'm in love.
Slutty little cowboy, I'm sorry.
At each of his hips, you see masterwork rapiers glinting even here in the demi-gloom. A step behind the man is a smaller figure, but only in size and not in energy. The gnomish woman appears stern, with laced boots and a thick duster. Her dark hair is tied back in a tight bun, and her dark features are emphasized by a huge arcane rifle she has slung across her shoulders, observing the crowd like a bird of prey.
She sounds cool as shit.
Yeah.
She sounds so cool.
Both of these NPCs, can they join our party?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I hope we love them and not hate them.
You hear the orc begins to speak. Welcome, hard workers and denizens of Lal Druid. It is I, Jarl Sigurd Scruff.
Okay.
And of course, you are familiar with my fine commandant, Miss Constantine here. I have obviously heard the whisperings of permeating the city. People aren't too happy with the increased taxation scheme, but I assure you, I would do nothing that wasn't in the best interests of this great city. More taxes mean more caravans of water and more supplies to be commissioned for the town, which is all beneficial to you. Further, Miss Constantine, he says, gesturing again to the gnomish woman, has added several more deputies to her ranks in order to curb this outbreak of crime, thievery, and banditry. Water theft here is, of course, the greatest crime, and I will do all in my power to assure everyone has an equal share. There's a beat, and then all of a sudden, 2 of the sheriff's deputies lead 4 people onto the platform behind the Jarl, shackled at the wrists and ankles. These here charlatans have abused the gifts of the last lagoon, and as they have taken that which grants life, the punishment can only be death, as has been the custom in the Udrud Gorge for centuries. At these words, you see the crowd starts to get riled up again. Not in the sense that they disagree with this, but they hate the poaching of water. It is really the basis of the society here. You see as the crowd starts to build and screech and cheer, in a flash, in an instant, in a blur of silver and sinew, the Jarl removes every one of their heads and they fall to the podium.
Oh my god.
He walks up to Constantine and cleans his blades on her duster before resheathing them into their sheaths at each of his side, and turns again to the crowd and he says, I will always be fair and always be just. This is a large city with large problems, and I will always make sure to keep you safe. Thank you. And the crowd begins to erupt and cheer as the Jarl and the Commandant walk off the stage and begin to move back to the Hollow Keep.
I have 100 questions.
So many questions.
So as the crowd begins to disperse, what would you like to do? What would you like to check out?
So I want to see if there was anyone, because you said everyone was cheering and in support of Jarl Scruff. Was anyone not and looking angry or plotty at him?
Make an insight check on the crowd.
Thanks. That's an 18.
An 18. You obviously can pick some disgruntled people. There are a few. It's really more the more varied races here and the younger generation who obviously probably haven't been here in a while. It's actually the older generations who are much more respect of these customs. I think that's the breakdown you got it.
Okay.
But I don't think you notice any congregated group that's in opposition to this.
Cool.
People might have their individual misgivings about this, but this is the law of the land. And maybe a part of you thinks that maybe this is an act of assuading the crowd and the town, that maybe perhaps everything's not going great for the Jarl.
So, that's the person that I know.
Did he always take people's heads off?
I don't know. I mean, he had a temperament as a child, but never to murder. He's a bit of a rough and tumble kid, but nothing worse than that.
Does he seem approachable?
I mean, I don't know. Oh, I probably also should mention, he might refer to me with a title, Lady Louis. It's a thing I had in my old city. Don't usually use it at the moment. But if that happens, that's why. Shouldn't come up, I don't think. But we'll see.
Will he be curious as to why you're with us?
Probably. I mean, I never really used to leave the city walls, so the fact that I'm traveling probably might be a surprise, but if I can get some kind of connection out of him, it might be worth it.
So what's our reason for being with you?
Well, I mean, I have a tendency to collect ragtags pretty much wherever I go, so it's not really surprising to see me with a group of young people.
Hi, I'm ragtag number 3.
Ragtag number 1.
Taking the prime place, good job.
Of course.
So I'm 2 then.
I guess. This is not the order of how much I like you, by the way.
Make a deception, no.
But I don't know if the best thing to do is immediately approach. Maybe we look at the notice board, see what the general kind of goings are of the general community members, and then see if maybe there's something that can lead us to him rather than immediately disrupting a community event.
Good idea. Would it be worthwhile trying to find Dwenevere or Sister Yellen?
I mean, yes. Dwenevere, maybe we'll leave him.
I think we can do without him.
But
let's avoid him.
I feel like he's going to come back into our life at some point.
Probably. I mean, if you're looking to find one of your other acolytes in Sister Yellen, if you want to search her out, we absolutely can do that.
I mean, I think there's more important things to do, like Feng's initiation.
Lysandra, we spoke. What are you talking about?
So,
Oh, you did mention that. That's why you were going to the city. We can do that first.
no, we'll do that last. We're doing that last.
I'm feeling very victimized right now.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
What?
I probably shouldn't have spoke.
You see some heads start to turn now as you begin to make a scene.
Okay, kiddos, we're gonna go over to this notice board here, and we're just gonna look, and we'll take a second, okay? Everybody breathe. Okay.
I'm intrigued to those two bugbears with the orange sun, did you say, on their lapels? Are they a part of the Order of the Eternal Flame?
No, these seem like the guards, or the Jarl's guards, if that makes sense.
Okay, and that's their insignia, I guess.
Yes.
Cool.
Just using the last of my kind of perception check, where did the Jarl go after he made that speech?
Just, you can see a lot of the commandant and her deputies kind of form a posse around them and kind of start to move up towards the hollowed keep.
Okay, cool. Not going to go chasing anyone, so let's just see what's going on around the city. If we end up there, we end up there. If we need information, we can probably get up there.
So let's start by going to a notice board, and then we can go find a library for Qwig, and then we'll see where the day takes us.
Yeah, let's just follow some threads, see where we go, learn about the place, and try to dig into what all this business is with the substances that are in great demand.
That's how I live my life. Close my eyes and just go where the wind takes me.
Okay, well,
Maybe we should point at the notice board and just close our eyes and put our finger out, and then wherever we land, that's the one we do.
Okay.
do what? Is that how notice boards work here?
I think so.
You point and then you get something to do.
Yeah, there's like a notice.
I see piano lessons up there.
We goes to do piano lesson.
As you approach, you see a stressed-out kobold desperately nailing a poster to the notice board itself. He looks exhausted, dust coating his ragged clothes, and his knobbly legs barely support his weight. He's got bone-thin arms. Some of the scales have been preened off, and you can see he's got bald spots of scales around his neck and face. You see over his shoulder the poster reads, "Desperately seeking cleric for absolution. Mark of the undeath is upon me.
I am screaming.
Please see Kukak at the Skeptic Speakeasy for any leads." And, do you approach the notice board?
Is this the kobold you convinced you were a ghost?
Oh my god.
This is the kobold that's going to sit out of
Should we go razz him up?
I think I see that, and would I recognize the kobold?
Give me an intelligence check.
Okay.
Or a history check. It
Alright.
was very dark.
Yeah, okay. That's a 10.
You definitely remember it was a kobold, but I mean, like, context clues.
Yeah. Okay, so when we were in the sewers and we were poking around, I may or may not have almost been caught by a kobold chef and scared him into thinking I was a ghost.
Ghost! You see the kobold man kind of turns around and is like, "Who said that? Who said it? Was it you?"
Where is there a
Or
ghost?
runs up to Fang and is like, "Was it you? You said it!
Where is there a ghost?
That's a ghost!"
Where?
That's the ghost. No.
Where's the ghost? Oh my goodness!
He rolls a nat 2 on his con save and passes out.
Oh my god.
He seemed very stressed. I think there's a ghost around.
Absolutely, there's a ghost around. I just don't know how true that is. Yeah, I think I'll just kneel, like, take the sword, get down on my bloody knees, and just kind of, like, smack his little face and be like, "Hey, kiddo, you okay?"
They didn't believe me. They laughed me out. It came. He grabs the front of your shirt. It came with the night, not a sound, nothing. It attacked me right in my bed, I swear. It used its unnatural powers. It pierced into my mind, a banshee or a ghoul or something. I've never seen the likes of my whole life. I must have been at least 7 foot tall. You believe me? You believe me, don't you?
I absolutely believe you, yeah.
Are you a cleric?
I'm not. I'm so sorry, but we did see one heading down towards the saloon.
You say immediately scrambles away and starts to scramble up into the city.
Good luck with your ghost.
Good luck, kiddo.
That was well handled. That was so well handled.
job.
Thanks.
Great.
I'm not sure if you're being sarcastic or not, but...
Well, you know, it is handled and we're okay.
now.
So, yep, I'm
Yeah.
sure
He's going to be the BBEG.
That's one more person we've traumatized for life.
Well, hey, I mean, Ghost in the Night is better than me dead, so... Or us found.
For sure.
Yeah.
True.
All right, anything interesting on this notice board? What do we see?
Yeah, you look up onto the notice board, you see that there are several bounties and odd jobs plastered up there, as well as just everyday advertising in the city. So you see there's a general bounty out for the scalps of burrowers for 20 gold each. The bounties are to be collected at the sheriff's office in the Hollow Keep. There is an untouched bounty notice. You see no party has attached their seal to it. It is for a salt golem eradication in the abandoned mines southwest of Lalodrud.
Hey, we saw that.
That's for 500 gold pieces.
Oh.
And that bounty has been posted by the Penchant Prospecting Securities Limited.
Oh, the crossed spades.
The missing person, there's a missing persons notice for a Mantelope grazer's daughter. The grazer's pasture is beyond the tent city to the plains above. Ask for Arnold. There's also an advertisement for a lost artifact. For those interested, they are to speak to Professor Caressa at the Four Eyes Outpost.
What a brilliant name. Professor Caressa.
Very good.
There is an open invitation to attend a cleansing ritual for a group called the Arcanites. That is happening at midnight at the top of the Udrud Gorge.
Who meets at midnight? I need to be in bed by that time.
I'm in bed by 9 p.m. I agree with you.
There is a happy hour at the Septic Speakeasy and Surgery. Drinks and teeth extractions are half price.
What?
There is also the just a general note at the bottom about respecting the Circle of Stone, and the note and the service of having your concretion chart read at their circle.
Is there anything for the Order of the Eternal Flame?
Nothing plastered on the notice board.
I need to talk to our marketing department.
Your marketing department?
Yeah, it's run by George.
Right now to build George.
Yeah, George, he runs the marketing
George
department.
marketing.
George in marketing. You know George in marketing. I did always tell the elder Hiralea that he lacked in his job, but I guess she didn't listen to me.
I would speak up after reading that. We should look at into this missing artifact.
Yeah, do you know anything about it?
No, but we were told that the stone that I have, and I pull out the pearlescent stone that I found, was sort of half of an artifact.
True.
We could find the other half.
Maybe it's related. And of course, if there's a professor here, they might have some knowledge to do with the Europeum as well.
Professor Caressa.
Professor Caressa.
Such a good name.
I just want to keep saying it.
Yeah. Professor Caressa.
Professor.
Might have some decent knowledge about the Europeum even. I don't know. I didn't think there'd be any academics in this town, so that's better than nothing.
There is a smile on your face that tells me that that's all you want to do.
I actually, and then I look back at the board. What else was there?
Qwig had tunnel.
Okay, let's go visit some professors and academics. That'll be fun.
That'll be interesting, and we might bump into Ardwenavir again.
Yeah.
Let's hope not.
Oh, okay, so scalping. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do some scalping.
I would love to see you try and scalp a person.
Oh, I pull out my
No, we should definitely go to Professor Caressa, then we can't go to my druid circle.
Let's do Professor
I'll
Caressa.
go to your druid circle.
No.
Yes.
So residing in the tent city, you make your way back out of the main gorge and into the throng of multicolored fabrics and people. The heat of the midday sun now begins to drive many who did not need to be inside into the shade and cool. Vendors fan themselves with ornate, intricate fans with conjured water methods providing a cooling mist. Before long, you come across a large canvas pavilion with the insignia of a large, lidless eye. Lysandra, you can roll a history check for me.
Oh, okay.
With advantage.
Oh, yay, thank you. That's going to be 12.
12. Even with the 12, you know because the headquarters are in Feldspar, but this is the Independent Institute of Indifferent Information, also known as the Four Eyes. This institution believes in the true neutral nature of information. It's largely accorded to the keeping of the mainstream knowledge of Nua, with everyone having access to that information freely. That has led to a few scandals in the past, but academic oversight has largely kept the institution in the mainstream to command the respect and keep funding from the Jarls. So it is very much, we are not responsible for the information. If you use it in a bad way, that is your purview.
So is this just our stories version of Google?
Yes.
Wikipedia.
Yes.
They're also asking for money every time you go on. No, please, if you could.
Kind of like the Maesters in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
But very much more localized. It's not, anyone can go and learn at these institutions. It's not very gate kept. As you walk up to the tent, a sign staked out of the front reads Professor Caressa, Lead Expedition Researcher, Head of Anthropological Studies in Feldspar. As you enter the tent, you are assaulted with the smell of tanned hide, patchouli, and musk. Small lanterns extend back into the rear of a lush, dark tent, illuminating rows and rows of deep mahogany bookshelves. At your feet, you feel thick carpet, and before you rests a long, narrow desk littered with tomes and dusty scrolls. Behind the desk sits a woman, a kitsune, bending over the desk from a high-backed chair, with a young, human woman placing more material in front of her and muttering in hushed undertones. As you enter, the kitsune's eyes dart from the desk to the people who have just entered her tent and addresses you all. Good morning. Aren't you a ragtag? Is that a fairy?
Why does everyone keep saying that to you?
Not many of us around, I guess.
So he is a fairy. Holly, go fetch me that book. And you see Holly immediately turns and walks away, giving the side eye at Qwig. She goes, good morning, travellers. Well, my name is Professor Caressa. I'm the head of anthropological studies. Well, I'm assuming you're here from my notice. Not many people come in seeking knowledge in this town, that's for sure.
Yes, well, we were seeking much knowledge, but we did read that you had a job to do with a missing artifact.
As you say, Holly returns with one of the books and kind of gingerly places it next to the forearm of Kitsune, and she goes, such a studious work ethic from this one. See that, Holly? And Holly also immediately shoots daggers at you.
I immediately avert my gaze down to the ground, and I start looking at books. So interesting.
Fascinating. A member of the Fae. And you're interested in magic, like the pursuit of arcane?
Well, of course, I'm a wizard.
Fascinating. She already immediately starts scribbling down notes, already drawing like a rough diagram of Qwig in her book, and like starting to label some of the like more insectile aspects of his being. Holly, in the meantime, is just shooting daggers at Qwig.
Holly needs to chill.
You're being recorded in history right now.
I start getting very insular, like I start shoulders rolled down and my wings fold down as I feel very insecure. And she's drawing and annotating me.
Well, yes, I am here, obviously, on an expedition, funded expedition. We have heard rumours of some old artifacts in the Sidewinder Canyon that would be of great importance to the Institute, hence why I am here. You don't have any information on the artifact, do you?
Well, what kind of artifact are you looking for?
We have heard rumours from some of the miners that they've been uncovering small utensils, items of non-description or not very importance. However, under close examination, these are ancient artifacts dating back beyond the Sand Elves or even the Wood Elves, which is unheard of because the common discourse is that the Wood Elves were the first residents of Nua and that there was, nothing before that. So this could be a great breakthrough if we can find concrete evidence of a civilization beyond time. Have you heard anything of like that in your travels?
Not quite, which is a lie because immediately he's thinking about the monolith. But he doesn't want to tell her about that because that's where the bandits are. But I did come across this, and I pull out the pearlescent stone.
You see she holds out her hand and takes the stone and immediately hands it to Holly, and she goes, "Holly, quick diagnostic tests. This should only take a couple of hours. You're fine with this, yes?" Holly's already gone. Excellent. So, well, what I need is, we'll see if that's got it. It's definitely, markings are intricate. I'm only the head of anthropological studies, not really into the arcane. That's all quite dull to me. I feel humanoids are fascinating. But really, all I need is, a bit of a contingency plan. See, Holly is great, a great researcher. She can be a bit jealous sometimes, but we're not the best.
Really?
That doesn't show.
You don't say.
We're working through it. Anyway, basically, we want to fund an expedition into the Sidewinder Canyon to retrieve these said items for identification. I have secured coordinates from the miners on this old map with help from the Circle of Stone. And the mission should be perilous, but also highly lucrative should you able to accompany me and ensure my safety. I believe it should only take 2 weeks. Is your party, up to this challenge?
Of course. Wait, and I look around to everyone else.
Yeah, no, we can do that. 2 weeks sounds great. We can make it 2 months if you want.
Are you sure, Fang? Don't you have...
No, I don't have anything to do. Actually, Fang's probably not paying too much attention in here. It's like a library, I'm guessing, kind of situation where there's books everywhere.
It's a tent library.
Feeling very overwhelmed.
Sniffing the hide.
Yeah. Probably just closes his eyes and picks a book.
Well, 2 weeks, are we up for it?
Well, okay, that's the offer. Are you sure you can handle it? I mean... I have a lot of adventurers coming through here, and you seem pretty new to town.
We just did a week in the desert. We could surely do 2.
Sounds like you're like a California couple. I did a week in SoCal. We did ayahuasca.
I am intrigued, actually. What can you tell me about the Circle of Stone?
Oh, well, the Circle of Stone precedes the city of Laldrud itself, actually. The city is built on their old circle. So, yes, they are, but they're nomadic, so they kind of weren't really here to protect the stone circle. And
They weren't here.
Well, I mean, progress is progress, and where people come, there is demand, and I just assume that they're not a combative lot of people, and so they would rather welcome these strangers to these lands, and, well, the city is thriving.
And I heard there's like a really cool new druid circle in the city. What's their deal?
Yeah.
Oh, another druid?
Never mind, I haven't heard about that.
I know
Damn
there was a
Fucking George.
There definitely was a cleric to Persephone in town I've heard rumors of, but I only really focus out here in the tent city. I'm not sure what's happening closer into the gorge itself.
No worries, thanks for letting me know.
And could you tell us anything about the European rush?
The European rush?
Or why people are coming here? That's what I've been trying to work out.
Well, that's why we are all here. I was initially sent here to study Europium. However, my funding stream got switched up, and so now I'm in the anthropological stream of things. So that should be interesting. But, I mean, the companies are booming here. This is new Arcanotech. Cape Rin is jumping at the bit to get all of this Europium.
So that's what it's being used for, is for new tech?
Well, that's some of it. Some of the high elves and BNTOrum are still running some tests. We don't know really what its application is in its fullest extent yet, but all we know is that it's incredibly finite. Whatever it is, there's not much of it, and so everyone's here to get their own slice, it appears.
And how long ago was your funding changed?
Oh, that would have been a couple of months ago. Actually, I was on my way here when I got the news.
From Jarl Scruff?
No, actually. I'm from the Jarl in Feldspar.
So suddenly she's not interested in it. Interesting.
Or they stopped funding her expedition into Europium, so they lost interest.
Yeah,
And
Or
then,
they were paid off to stop looking at
that's what I'm thinking. Gotta figure that out.
So, anyway, what makes you capable? Are you familiar with the wastelands, yes?
Well, we did just spend at least a week crawling through the mess of the Badlands out there. So we've got at least a little bit of recent experience under our belts.
Great. And like monsters, fine with killing them? Like just completely indiscriminately and like without any regret?
I just look at Lysandra.
Don't look at me. I didn't want to kill it.
Monsters, usually yes, as long as it's not people.
And even then.
It depends if they're attacking me first.
Yeah, if it's going to attack us first, then, well, we will kill them.
You see Kitsune's nose starts to like furrow. She's deep in thought and consideration. Her eyes keep darting to Qwig though, and she goes, well, I suppose I can't pass up this opportunity. It'll give me even more time to study. And you see her eyes fixate on Qwig, and Holly gives him a withering look.
Okay, I will just state that we are, all of us here are also people and not just scientific experiments. So if we're going along with you, anything that is being studied has to be cleared with the person that you want to look at. Is that okay?
I don't know what you mean, she says, still scribbling the book. As she goes, well, I suppose you'll need time to prepare. We can provide some rations, but of course, you can't eat books. So let's say it'll probably take a few days for you to prepare, but you're happy to use the Four Eyes Outpost as a kind of a base of operations. Holly can lead you out the back to where you are more than welcome to stay, but... This is fantastic. I need to start compiling my notes. I'm going to have to start slim things down. And you see she turns away from her desk and begins to like rifling through papers and beginning to assort a travel dossier to be able to take with her.
Just a quick question. Is Holly coming too?
Holly turns to you and says, why would I ever leave the professor's side?
Is she going to leave her attitude behind?
Okay, let's...
I will just let you know, Holly, that we don't really tolerate attitude here. The last person that had attitude with us got their ankle smashed in, and I'm just giving us a bit of a warning.
Very attitude-free party.
So let me get this straight. We just hired you and you just immediately threatened...
No, I'm not threatening you. I'm just warning you that we have can be very grumpy.
Professor, what's the nomenclature on the difference between a threat and a warning?
Anyway, see you in a few days.
You see Kitsune's nose is buried in the book. She goes like, yeah, it's pretty much the same if you ask me. You see Holly hands you all a sleeping mat and directs you to the back of the tent.
As we walk past, I'm just gonna hand her a little hard candy and be like, I apologize for my compatriots.
I don't like sweet things. She hands it back to you.
Okay, no worries.
Checks out.
Checks out. I'm going to hit her for that. No one denies Louis.
I still
get her ankle smashed in.
I still have the candy in my hand, so I just
shaking.
I just hand it to you because you're close to me. Extra.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
So Holly has prepared extra sleeping mats for you guys, handing them out. They're all engraved with the insignia of the Four Eyes on them. They're incredibly musty. She directs you to a small area beyond the bookshelves at the rear of the tent, where large chintzy cushions with tassels lay sprawled on a large carpet around a central smoking brazier. A fire method greedily consumes perfumed wood from inside. It's quite cozy and cool in here.
Louis is feeling at home for the first time in a very long time.
Holly turns to you all and says, well, we will need to acquire some pack animals or something. I know that there's Mantelope Wrangler not too far from here, but if you wanted something more strong, I know that they have imported some okapis into the city centre, but they are going to be quite expensive. But you're the experts, apparently, so we will defer to you. We can help with rations, but, we don't really have much in the way of exploring equipment. I hope that is not an issue.
Of course not.
No, I'm pretty good at tracking and exploring.
You see she goes, wonderful, and drops the mats in front of her and walks back to the bookshelf, and again, glaring at Qwig.
We didn't get the rope back.
We lost all 3 ropes.
We can get more. That's not a...
I'm sure there's plenty of rope here.
Yeah, we are in a city. So, it looks like we have to go figure out our own transport. There was that notice about the Mantelope Wrangler. Maybe if we find the daughter, then we can get the Mantelopes for a discounted rate. I don't know how long that'd take us, but if we have a couple days...
That's a great idea.
That's a pretty good idea. Would we want something stronger than mantelips, though?
Well, if it's only a party of, 6 of us, and we're only going hunting for small artifacts just to clear an expedition, we shouldn't really be dragging anything massive with us.
So we just need, a caravan or something like that?
Probably.
Okay,
It's a small party.
Let's go see what we can do with mantelips.
Okay, you leave the tent and leaving the academics to their work, and you enter back into the heckling urban sprawl of a tent city. As you start to move up to the grazing grounds, you do notice a small light blue tent with a wooden sign bearing a periwinkle blue dewdrop. And Lysandra, you would know this to be the symbol of Persephone. You also notice that you are being heckled. Another tent further away, there is a bunch of hooligans who are clearly drunk in the midday sun on moonshine. You see they start to jeer and point at you. One of them goes, "Who's that big hairy guy over there? Goodness gracious, aren't you hot? Aren't you hot, good boy? Aren't you hot in this weather?" And they all start screaming and guffawing. The other one points at Qwig and is like, "What? Did someone pour a growth potion on that dragonfly? That's the biggest one I've ever seen out here."
Things looking around to see who they're talking about.
You all a fancy bunch of folk. What? And they just pause on Louis for a little bit and is like, "You're old, I guess."
No one teach you manners, boys.
Just leave them alone.
You see they spit and they're like, "Manners out here? Yeah, you're gonna have to look few and far between to find any manners out here, Granny."
All right, kiddo. Good luck.
Where are you meant to be right now? That all you got?
Just continues to drink.
Yeah, listen.
Let's just keep going. They're not worth our time.
Nope. Do you want to go stop in? You look like you stopped for a second.
We can do that later. And she looks at Feng.
Okay, I'm making a list. I'm
not ready to go and approach Sister Yellen yet.
Okay, well, we're about to go out of the city, so when we get back, I need you all to promise me that you're gonna go do the things that you're here to do.
Okay.
If you insist.
Okay, hands out in front. I don't want any crossed fingers right now. Show me.
Puts her hands out in front.
Feng does the same.
Thank you. Okay.
I'm casting minor illusion just to make the sound of a dragonfly constantly buzz past those guys' ears. Like,
And in this moment of annoyance and self-responsibility, that is where we'll end our session.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
How dare they insult our parental figure?
Granny.
Everyone keeps calling you a fairy, Qwig. That's a fairy.
We're all just like, yeah, cool, it's fairy.
Yeah.
Sweet.
But it's like the type of thing where it's like, even if it was rude, I probably wouldn't realize. I'm like, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Of course, thanks for stating what I am.
You're very perceptive of
Oh
me.
my god, I have wings, wow.
Alright, does anyone have a shameless plug for this week?
Selfless plugs?
Shameless, selfless. Shameless is a good show. You probably
Great show.
plugged that.
I want to plug Shameless right now.
That show's finished. They've had enough. No, I've actually got one. Mine's probably a bit boring for any international listeners or listeners not in Melbourne, but I started a new job recently and just getting to try so much coffee around my location. I've become so appreciative for Melbourne coffee. So my selfless plug today is for Melbourne coffee, purely because I feel like I've tried, 8, 9, 10 places, and it is just so consistently good, no matter where you go. So I'm very thankful for that.
This could be spreading disinformation, but I'm pretty sure that in the Rio Olympics, Australia bought baristas from Melbourne so that they could make their athletes' coffees in Rio de Janeiro, in Brazil, where coffee's
Love
grown.
that.
So
I wouldn't be surprised, but what's your go-to coffee order?
Caramel cappuccino, make fun of me in the comments, go for it.
Okay, and what about you, Georgia?
I don't drink coffee, but if I have to, a mocha, so chocolate and coffee.
I mean, that's solid. Jeremy?
All reliable, I get a cappuccino.
Yep.
See, I'm disgraceful. I get an ice long black with extra ice.
Nice.
Extra ice.
I'd like my
Edgy.
coffee with
So
less
edgy.
coffee.
Yeah.
If you have to take a breath or use a conjunction, so order your coffee.
Look, if your coffee, I've worked as a barista, and if your coffee order is like I want a weak almond cappuccino with no chocolate and extra foam, I'm
I've already
immediately
stopped paying
banning you
attention.
from the cafe. But Emerson, what's your go-to?
Oh, mine's just the skinny latte. Like it's skinny.
Skinny latte.
I'm skinny. And with that, don't forget to follow us at our Instagram page at Down Under Dungeon Pod. We have new episodes weekly. Don't forget our competition as well.
Yep. Go comment up to 3 NPCs.
We're looking forward to reading through them.
Yes, sounds good. And we will see you next week.
See you there.
Bye. See you next week.
Farewell.